What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a little bit of a look at the box toppers from BT10. We've been waiting a little while for these. We've been very patient. I think we've been pretty patient. And now we've got news of what the box toppers are, and I, for one, am rather delighted. I need to give a shout out here to the lovely TCG Review for making me aware of these, sharing the image. That is lovely, and I am rather thankful. And what we've got here is a set of 6 alternate art tamers. Of course, with the box toppers, what we generally tend to see is we either get the tamers, or we get ourselves the Digitama, and it seems like what we've got here, rather nicely, is we've got the tamers. Now, if we go over to DigimonCard.dev, a wonderful website, and we go and take a little bit of a look at the tamers we've got, we can see that we've fallen into a nice little pattern, and this tends to happen in sets at the moment. We've got 6 tamers in BT10, 1 for each colour, in the same way that we've got 6 Digitama in BT10, 1 for each colour. And we do seem to have slipped into a nice little pattern. Over in BT9, we had 6 Digitama, and each of those was given an alternate art version, or really a full art version, to be used as box toppers. We actually had 9 tamers that came around in BT9. That was a little bit weird, but we had a white tamer in Cool Boy, and we had a bunch of dual colour tamers, so it was, shall we say, it's not really particularly fair. I think it seems pretty likely that moving forward, we are just going to have, 1 Digitama for each colour. That seems like a sensible prediction. But then by the same token, I think sometimes we're just going to have 1 tamer for each colour, and other times we're not, I think is fair to say. In BT9 we had 2 black tamers, and we had a blue tamer and a dual colour blue and red, and then we had a dual colour blue and red and a dual colour red and yellow, but then we had a red and yellow and a yellow and green, and then we had a yellow and green, but we also had a green and blue. We see where we're going with this? They didn't stick to the colours nicely, etc. And actually, we've been paying attention. That means there were 3 blue ones, but only 1 was proper blue. The others were dual colour. Anyway, we've got tamers. Let's have a little bit of a gander. And we might as well go in set order because, frankly, that makes the most sense. So we'll start off with the red tamer. We've got Mikey Kudo. When you play, you reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add a card with Crossheart in its traits to your hand. And then a Digimon with Crossheart in its traits under this tamer. So we're building up cards under tamers. We've seen this. This is the way the set works. We build cards up under tamers. We get them back. Life's good. And then on your turn, when playing one of your Digimon with Digicross requirements, that is when you play them but you put other cards down under them as you do to reduce the cost. It's one of the mechanics in BT10. You may suspend this tamer and also place cards from under your tamers into Digivolution sources by Digicross, which is going to really help. If you're going for the whole Digicross thing, Mikey Kudo has absolutely got your back. Moving on into blue, we've got Christopher and Numa, and you'll notice that, because we've gone Digicross, a lot of them have got these weird little transponder things. I don't know what they are, but I should watch that anime one day. Now, this is a 4-cost tamer, and it's got that fairly standard thing whereby if you've got 2 or less memory, you set it to 3 at the start of your turn. Speaking of standard, I'm not going to mention this again. All of the tamers have that thing that every tamer we've ever seen has, which is to say, if it comes out as a security card, you can play it for free. Yay, etc. And on your turn, when you would play a Digimon with Digicross requirements, again, that means you are playing it down with other cards under it using Digicross. By suspending this tamer, you can also place cards from under your tamer as Digivolution cards when you Digicross. So you'll notice what we've got here is pretty much the same thing with Mikey Kudo, in that when you're playing a Digimon using Digicross, you suspend, put cards under. If you're going for the whole Digicross route, if you're putting cards under tamers, taking them out, etc., this seems like a pretty good option. Both of these do. They're both pretty similar. They're both pretty nice. Now, moving on beyond those 2, we've got ourselves Angie Hinamoto, 3-cost tamer. On play, you can play a Darulamon from your hand or from under one of your tamers without paying its cost. And this is a lovely example of one of those skills that really takes advantage of putting your cards under one of your tamers. Sure, you could play a Darulamon, and I'm pronouncing that horribly, I apologize, just normally, but wouldn't it be cool if you played it for free? Now, obviously, you're not actually playing it for free, because what you're doing is paying free memory to get this in, but your Darulamon here is a 4-cost, so you're playing a 3-cost Tamer and a 4-cost Digimon for just a 3-cost? That sounds alright by me. Also worth noting that because Angie doesn't say play skills don't activate, they do, and Darulamon here does have a skill when you play. If you have another Digimon or Tamer with Crossheart in its traits, one of your opponent's Digimon loses 3,000 power until your opponent's next end of turn. So you're dropping them by 3,000 power until the end of their next turn? Yes. That sounds really good. That sounds awesome. That sounds like a really good thing to do. And then on your turn, when you play a Digimon with Crossheart in its traits, you can suspend to draw a card. Again, we're talking, you really need to be playing a Crossheart kind of deck here. But the fact that you can play a 4-cost Digimon for free while playing a 3-cost Tamer, and the fact that you can then be drawing cards as you go through the game, not to mention the power reduction when you play it. I mean, all in all, this sounds pretty good, I'll be honest with you. Now, Jeremy Tsurugi is your green Tamer. It's a 3-cost. When you play, you may play a Ballistamon from your hand or from under one of your Tamers without paying its memory cost. So a very similar thing here. We got another pair like we saw a moment ago. And Ballistamon, unfortunately, does not have a play skill, so you're not gaining advantage of that. But while you have another Digimon or Tamer with Crossheart in its traits, you get Blocker. And on deletion, you can save, which means put it under one of your Tamers, which is actually super important because, of course, you can then put it under a Tamer. And then when you play, if you play another Jeremy, you can play this for free because it's definitely going to be under one of your Tamers. That is worth bearing in mind. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool if I'm honest with you. Also on your turn, when you play a Digimon with Crossheart in its traits, you can suspend this Tamer to gain a memory. So Angie is getting you extra cards when you play a Crossheart, and Jeremy is getting you extra memory when you play a Crossheart. Both of them seem pretty good. And actually, I clearly lied to you at the start of the video, because I told you we had one Tamer for every colour, but that's obviously not true. If you've been following the releases, I covered all of these cards as we went. Rurisuke Yono is a second green Tamer. She becomes the only one of the 7 Tamers in the set, and I have double checked and it is definitely 7 Tamers in the set, that doesn't get an alternate art box topper. So to all the Ruli fans out there, I apologise, you're getting left out. And that seems a little bit mean. Sorry about that. Over in purple, we've got Yu and Amano. When a purple card is placed under this Tamer, you draw a card and gain a memory. Again, the whole hook of these Crossheart Digimon is that you're putting cards under your Tamers. So this is going to work nicely. And on your turn, once per turn, when you would play a level 4 or higher Digimon with Bagra Army in its traits, and I showed you in a video the other day, the Bagra Army is looking good, by placing up to 3 purple Digimon cards from under your Tamers in that Digimon's Digivolution cards, reduce the play cost of that Digimon by 2 for each card placed. And the Bagra Army includes like Tactimon. So Tactimon is a 13 cost, except it's not anymore, it's now a 7 cost. And that changes a lot, ladies and gentlemen. That makes Tactimon good. I told you this the other day, right? Generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of the new Tactimon, but if you're telling me it's a 7 cost to play, well, that changes my thinking quite a lot. Obviously, you've got to get 3 cards under Yu and Amano, and that's not easy, but that's not the point. The point is, if you get it working, this is looking awesome. And then we've got one last one, that is Amano Nene. And we got a 3-cost Tamer here. When you play it, you reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add a card with Nightmon or Deadly Axemon in its name, or Twilight in its traits to your hand. Putting the rest of the cards under your deck in any order. And then on your opponent's turn, all of your Digimon that have Dark Nightmon in their name, or Twilight in their traits, gain Blocker. And on deletion, you gain 2 memory. Sounds good to me, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds good to me. Again, it's a very specific kind of tamer. If you're playing a Dark Knightmon Twilight deck, brilliant. If you're not, obviously leave it in the binder. But it's one of those, yeah, fine, it's kind of hyper-specific. But in the way that you need it, this will work rather nicely. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are your box toppers for BT10. They look very cool. It really depends what you're into. There's a little something for everyone. I'm a little bit sad that really doesn't make the list. That makes me sad. But never mind. I'm sure it will be okay. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know which of these you're hoping to open when you get your box. And I didn't mention this earlier, so let me make it clear now. We have, over here, followed exactly, and I mean exactly, the way that box toppers have been done over in Japan. So, although it's not actually confirmed or announced, you should expect with pretty much 100% certainty that we are going to see these cards as the box toppers over here. That's not official, but it's as good as at this stage. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about all of this, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far, the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.